Wow, what a day so far for Oklahoma State signing the best running back in the transfer portal, and they're not done. The gang is all here, and why am I scared?
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, what is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host here at Locked On Oklahoma State. Thank you guys so much for joining in as we dive into another episode of Locked On Oklahoma State, talking about the Pokes as the transfer portal wheel keeps on turning and in a good direction for Oklahoma State as you guys continue to sign elite player after elite player in the transfer portal and maybe not slowing down anytime soon. I don't know. This episode is going to be brought to you by our friends at Game Time. And right now, when you want to talk about Game Time, guys, look, if you want to download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code LOCKDOWNCollege, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. But just remember that terms and conditions do apply. And thanks for making Locked On Oklahoma State your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network in the world right now, where we talk about your team, the Pokes, every single day. I'm not alone. I am here with a friend of the show, somebody that you guys, I think, know. And let's get into it with my buddy, Reagan Harris. Thanks, man. What's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good, man. So some kind of news happened or obviously, Oklahoma State, things are going, I mean, I feel like this is an understatement if I just say this. Things are going according to plan.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Couldn't be more to plan at this point in time.
Caleb Hawkins is a back that, Texas, Oklahoma, you beat the, I think it gets a little sweeter when you consider those two teams really wanted him, but just couldn't close the deal on an elite running back that led the country in so many categories. Mm-hmm. How good does it feel as an Oklahoma State fan to close the deal on what could be the portal's best running back?
Well, look, this is one of those commitments that you're going to remember in Oklahoma State history because he's going to be very good when he comes to Stillwater. I have no doubts about that. But the bigger news is the amount of bids that we had to work against and the fact that we were able to compete at such a level at NIL to where even when an SEC program, multiple SEC programs that is, we're trying to drive up the price of Caleb Hawkins, but Morris and company and the loyalty for that coach, it was enough. Specifically, we need to give credit to Patrick Cobbs, the running back coach for Oklahoma State. He really loves playing for him, and that's a great guy on the assistant staff. And look, the fact they were able to bring him in despite competing against the SEC, despite competing against top dollar, is incredibly impressive. And it's just a phenomenal moment, really, in Oklahoma State history.
Agreed. And obviously joining already quarterback Drew Mestemaker. We know what he is, an elite quarterback, one of the best decision makers in all of college football, a high-profile passer, 34 touchdowns, 9 picks. We know what he brings to the table. And now they will work RPOs together as you bring in Caleb Hawkins, 231 carries, 1,434 yards, 25 rushing touchdowns. He averaged over 6 yards a carry at 6.2. He also had 32 catches for 370 yards and 4 touchdowns. He is the definitional version of a dual threat running back where you can run the ball between the tackles. You can get outside the tackles. You can run split zone. You can run outside zone. You can run gap and power. He can literally do it all at 6'2", 200 pounds. And you want to talk about a freshman that, is just an absolute animal when it comes down to it. Rock Creek High School, which is, from what I understand, North Rock Creek High School, from what I understand, a bit of a powerhouse in their local area. Pretty wild that a player of this caliber gets missed in this day and age.
Well, yeah, it's even more surprising that a local kid like him got missed by both Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, especially, people can say what they want about Mike Gundy. One thing he's really good at is finding those type of kids. So it is surprising in that regard. But, hey, he's home. He's at Oklahoma State. Big deal. I mean, really, it is. So not enough can be said. It's shocking that he didn't get passed up that much. Same thing with Mestemaker, right?
Yes.
So.
Yes. And, obviously with Mestemaker, we know the value there, $7 million. I'm assuming he probably could have drove that up a little further if he really wanted to. But at some point, you get diminishing returns as to on the field, right? So, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I mean, the estimate I was getting from Oklahoma State was right around 21 million. Have you heard different? Is it
for what specifically?
NIL specific?
So $20 million is what, from my understanding, is our target budget. I know we're providing about all of that through donations alone, and that's before you hit revenue share. So we're going to see where that ends up being. I would estimate that this roster at the end of it all will probably be right around that mark for total cost at the end of the year, which is extremely competitive to say the least. Last season, Oklahoma spent about $20 million on their roster, OU, and they were in the playoffs competing in the SEC. So something to keep in mind.
So you're talking about 20 million after the 12.5 rev share number?
Well, 12.5 rev share. So from my understanding, what the idea is the 20 million is going to be going towards the primary starters, right? So the Mestemakers, the Caleb Hawkins, the Wyatt Young, and some other guys that haven't been announced yet that we're working towards finalizing by the end of the day. So you have those guys, and then you move forward and you're looking at high school, and that's where we want to put a lot of the donor money and things of that nature.
West Virginia did something really similar to that. We saved – actually, you know how everybody front-loaded last year? West Virginia saved $5 million from last year's front-loading, to which is why we signed the best class in the entire league, high school-wise, until Texas Tech signed a couple extra players. But
really, the other thing to think about, by the way, is that's a budget with buying out head coach, buying out an entire staff, losing out on a bunch of NIL from players entering the portal who had multi-year contracts. You're talking about a immediately competitive NIL budget when you just spent $10 to $15 million getting everything out the door from the other staff. Incredibly impressive. Really, it is. It is.
I have to say, I'm frustrated because as a fan of the Big 12 and as somebody who's always liked Oklahoma State legitimately, I'm frustrated with Mike Gundy and the way he handled things, even in the face of it all. And maybe I'm out of place here as a guy who's, not quote unquote an Oklahoma State fan, but it seems like this could have been happening. And the fact that he had to leave for this to be a thing is incredibly frustrating to see. Do you think that is it causation or is it correlation, or what do you think?
Well, it's a little bit of both. So I'm very fair to Mike Gundy because I grew up watching him. He's a part of my childhood. Really, he is. I'm fairly young, as you can tell, in my mid-20s. But I have so much respect for him and what he did for the program, to the point where we can go out and hire an Eric Morris, because I hate to tell you, before Mike Gundy, that wasn't going to happen. What happened is just a difference in philosophy and having people around him for years, like Casey Dunn, that drove him down into the wrong directions. And inevitably, when it comes to NIL and transfer portal, it's all about motivation from your donors. And that just wasn't a thing. Chad really couldn't get people to buy into someone who just went 1-11 or whatever, and they had just invested a bunch of money into a roster that went 3-9. It's like, okay, how do you actually motivate? We spent a bunch of money on Ollie Gordon, like $750,000, which was a ton for a running back at that time, and a bunch of money on our starting O-line, brought all still 5 starters back. Yeah, I mean, you spent a ton of money. Really, you did. And you would be shocked at what they paid Zane Flores and other people. So it wasn't necessarily that, but once Eric Morris comes in, you're looking, okay, we're bringing in one of the hottest coaches in the country. He has the best quarterback in the group of 5, and we can bring him here. So it's easy to go to your donors then and be like, okay, let's invest and let's do this thing. And also, it does help that we have a new donor that recently came across the table that is competitive for the likes of Texas Tech for us. And he's cutting pretty large checks for the likes of Mestemaker. So that helps. So I don't think it's all on Gundy, right? It's a lot of a thing where you've been at a program for 20 plus years, so it makes it really difficult. to motivate people to begin with. And then a few years of a rough stretch where you're losing games you shouldn't. And it all just kind of combines at a bad timing when NIL becomes the norm and you're trying to tell people, hey, we need to spend $20 million to be competitive for a coach we can't guarantee is going to be competitive, with a brand new staff, with a bunch of assistant coach hires that are kind of third rate. Like, it wasn't easy. And so it's not all Mike Gundy's fault, but, it's just one of those things where the clock hit midnight.
Either way, it spurred you guys into a portal spending spree here where you guys are getting really good players. And obviously Hawkins is one of those players. Before we go to break, I'm going to do a best case, worst case on him. Then I just need you for 5 minutes to talk about Young after the break. But yeah, so obviously I think best case for him, he's going to be an every down Big 12 hammer, an explosive finisher, the kind of back that can turn 2 and 6 into 75 and gone, and I think he can turn red zone into points no matter where you're at on the field. Worst case, he's a really good player, but I think his efficiency could dip maybe versus power four fronts. Still a valuable committee headliner, but maybe just turns into more of a goal line player, worst case scenario. I just try to lay those out before we jumped on just for some variety in it. But obviously this is a big time pickup for you guys. Can't underestimate it. Things are still happening in real time. I can see you monitoring it as I'm talking to you.
Yes.
So we'll go to break really quick and talk about the other monster pickup here in Mr. Young, the wide receiver, right after the break. We'll be right back. Of course, we got to talk about our friends, guys, on this episode over at FanDuel. And right now at FanDuel, we used to talk about $5 that'll make you hollow, but right now Fridays already feel different during basketball season. FanDuel's making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 have become appointment viewing as NBA Happy Hour, where you're opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour and always bring something new, whether that's boosts, bonuses, or surprises. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's happening during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. It's segment 2. We're going to crack open a dew with Reagan Harris here. Man.
I wish I had a Mountain Dew. You just made me jealous.
You don't have one at the house?
No, unfortunately. Not with me. Man. I may have to go to a gas station later or Sonic or something and pick it up.
A little dooski, man. You got to have a little dooski. So, obviously, maybe your glue guy, right? I think Wyatt Young, the wide receiver from North Texas, comes on board now. 6 feet, 195. Caught 70 balls last year for 1,264 yards, 10 touchdowns, 18.1 yards per catch, which is wild considering what he looks like on the field. He was a high school District 19 6A co-offensive MVP, was over 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns as well. And look, he was good even his freshman year at North Texas. So this has been a steady climb here for the kid. And I think at the end of the day, this is a legit field tilter. The 18.1 per catch is really good. He does it a little differently. He does it with smooth operating in the route and as well as being really good after the catch, breaks a lot of tackles. But he is a vertical, immediate threat and is an efficient route runner, like I said, not just a screen guy. He's a guy that's going to get downfield. It's going to run out and ups. He's going to run rubs. He's going to do things to get open. But the growth curve is steep here from group of 5 DBs to Big 12 DBs. I know West Virginia is dedicated to getting only 6'3" or above, and that's not hyperbole. Seriously, West Virginia is only going after 6'3" or better this offseason at the DB spot. So that's going to be something that obviously wide receivers are going to have to deal with, and I think that's a trend across the country. As you see, offenses, you know how it is. It used to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Now things are more wide open with the RPO, and you need guys that can play a little bit of the tweener between the run and the pass. But this is another big pickup for the Pokes here as you get your wide receiver number 1 or 2, depending on who else you bring in. But he's an explosive target. I think a guy that defenses are going to have to bracket, and that only makes somebody else you bring in really good, Reagan.
Yeah, for sure. Wyatt Young. The thing that a lot of people are forgetting here is how young these players are. I mean, Wyatt Young is a sophomore.
Did I say Eric Young?
No.
Oh, okay.
You're good. Why did I say Eric Young?
No, but I did type in Eric Young earlier when I was Eric Morris. I don't know.
Yeah.
My brain
Caleb
scrambled.
Hawkins, Caleb Hawkins freshman, Wyatt Young sophomore. So I mean, you've got 2+ years probably with each of those guys. That's incredible. That's really, truly incredible when they're already putting up the numbers they're putting up. I mean, combined, they had almost 3,000 yards all purpose. Absurd. And you're bringing that into your team immediately with a quarterback that's already familiar with how to play with them. Wyatt Young, I heard about this all the way back on like January 1st and broke it January 2nd because I was so confident he was coming to Oklahoma State. Now it seems like it's official, 100% crystal balls, because it's a perfect fit between Mestemaker and Wyatt Young. They're kind of like this perfect duo. What's Mestemaker best at? Deep passes down the middle of the field. What's Wyatt Young's specialty? Deep posts down the middle of the field. They're a match made in heaven. So that's going to be really, really fun to watch in Stillwater next season for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. Wyatt kind of plays like a tight end that's 6 feet tall. That's how I kind of see him. You know what I mean? He's a really physical guy. Not that I wouldn't consider him slow. He's not a burner though. He's not gonna beat guys pure speed. He's beating dudes with, I don't know, I guess you call it football speed, right? It's like just some guys are different with it. And I think that's what he's going to be for you guys. He gets vertical though. You don't get 18.1 without being vertical. So, he's an interesting pick. And then I got to mention one last guy here really quick. Reagan, Miles Coleman, the wide receiver. This, I had somebody text me from the North Texas side of things, and he questions this one a little bit. 5'6" is pretty small, obviously. 159. He questions the ability to play at the Power 4 level. What say you about this pickup?
Well, I think that's a fair question. I think he needs to put on like 10 to 15 pounds, which would slow him down a little bit, but he's already going to be so fast because of his height differential. We've already played with a guy like this. His name was Brennan Presley. We have familiarity with players like this. Presley was taller for sure, but he'll have a similar role. So you'll see him underneath a lot. You'll see him in bubbles. You'll see him on jet sweeps, that type of action, which is a totally great weapon to have. It's going to be a lot more dangerous in the G5 level. We'll see how he translates to the P4. Could be one of those guys that unfortunately kind of falls down the order as the season goes on. But you also have to understand Oklahoma State has lost 53 players to the transfer portal, including every single wide receiver except for Gavin Freeman. So
Some guys have to just play roles.
Exactly. And so you're just bringing in whoever you're already comfortable with coaching is Eric Morris. And then you'll fill those slots as time goes on. And, he played so well for UNT. If you're at Morris, you probably think you owe it to him to give him a chance at this level. And I think that's totally fair. So we'll see how he plays.
From a West Virginia's perspective, I can say this, when Rich Rodriguez came over, and this just seems to be the new model for coaching. Hey, let's go get a coach, uproot everybody and bring them over. Obviously, Rich Rod and company were coming off a Sun Belt title with Jack State, and they didn't have as many guys that could come to the Big 12 as you and the American. The American's a step up from obviously where Jack State plays, in my opinion, just about a half step up. But, some guys that they brought over were, they're going to walk around and they're going to walk, talk, eat, sleep the culture, every single day. You don't have to – they can kind of be these guys that can be the example for what the culture should be. And so you don't have to teach every single guy what that looks like. They're going to know when meetings are. They're going to know what that looks like. Like there's a lot of nuanced stuff that fans don't even think about that the players have to go through, whether that's the day-to-day thing, So I think a player like this can help in that as well as just knowing the playbook, like you said. And it's not like he's got production. And I look at a guy like Des Reed at Pitt, if you will. He's a guy that's 5'6", 160 now. Is he explosive? Absolutely. Is he dynamic? Absolutely. But, those guys translate. West Virginia's played with them as well.
Yeah.
Reagan, you look like you're about to fall over, man. I know you're tired.
I mean, a little bit. But one last note on Coleman, if I can, just real quick.
Yeah.
The Big 12, it doesn't have the size of a Big 10 or SEC. So there is a chance that he is going to translate better than if he were playing at a Michigan, for example. And there's teams that he can exploit throughout the season, and I'm sure he's going to be targeted against those teams. Whoever decides to go large size, ironically, is actually who he's going to be best against because he's going to have the speed advantage, especially over the linebackers. So you'll put him in a spot where you force an outside linebacker to get on him, and then he cuts underneath, and then in the open space, you never know. So you'll see a lot of that. And I just wanted to note that.
Absolutely.
That's size sometimes, small size, especially in the Big 12, we've seen it work. So we'll see how it goes, though. But that's all.
Reagan Harris, man, thank you for jumping on, brother. I got one more segment to do, but I'll let you go ahead and go. I know you're working on a lot of different things, and I look forward to working with you again.
Absolutely, man. God bless. Have a good day. Think
of him. Guys, make sure you go check out Reagan at OKST Mart, Oak State Mart. So that's OKST Mart with the @ symbol. Make sure you're checking him out. He's a good guy over there on X as well. And as I said in the thumbnail, why am I scared? Well, that's what we're going to talk about next. As a West Virginia fan, why am I scared? And of course, our friends at Game Time say hello, and why wouldn't they? Game Time killing it right now in the game. There's nothing like college football season, tailgates, packed stadiums, and being right there in the middle of it all. The energy, the bands, the moments you remember forever. But actually getting tickets, well, that's the part that makes it frustrating for us. As long queues, long logins, prices jumping at checkout. That's why Game Time gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few tap-aroos. You guys remember that from Happy Gilmore, a little tap-tap-tap-a-roo. I opened the game time app to look at upcoming football games for Oklahoma State, and I was actually surprised at how fast it was to find those great seats. The app is incredibly easy to use, and I went from browsing to buying in just minutes, and I love to be able to see the view from my seat before buying, so I knew exactly what I was getting. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets today with Game Time. Download that app, create the account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase where the terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDON COLLEGE for $20 off today, where you can download the Game Time app today, and you can swipe tap ticket, go download Game Time today, and ask yourself the question of all questions. What time is it? It's game time. All right, guys, we are back here in Locked On Oklahoma State segment 3. Thank you guys so much for being here as we dive into segment 3. As we said, I saw a tweet from Johnny Dixon, offensive lineman from North Texas, that went out not even, let me see here. Let me get the post here. Yeah, so I'll see if I can screenshot it for you guys really quick so you can see it. All right. Let me put it in here. And then for those of you listening on audio, I'll just explain to you what the dealio is. But let's see. Get this put up in here really quick. And maybe some of you guys have already seen this. But here it is from Johnny Dixon. Go Pokes with the hashtag on it. So offensive lineman Johnny Dixon, which, at the end of the day, guys, pretty big pickup. You can get him too, right? I think most people expect that to be it's a foregone conclusion at this point, but it is nice to see that hashtag there, in my opinion. So there's another one, and he is another one of those linemen, you guys, from North Texas. You guys have several highly rated players on that team, man, and this guy is no different. So if you look at Johnny Dixon, man, he is a good player. So we'll continue to monitor that, to see what happens, because I don't know. I feel like he could be the next domino to fall. Maybe it sounds like they're maybe finishing the deal or working on the deal. I mean, why would he say go Pokes if it wasn't happening? So my opinion, anyways, is it looks really good for him. So I'm trying to get this to comply with me so I can pull my notes up on him. Let's see if it'll let me pull him up this time. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm clicking on it and it's just freezing on me. So maybe where we're, there we go. Okay. I got him now. All right. So, obviously he is on the interior of that line, really tough. I've got here great strength, great leverage, plays with great intelligence. Let's see, what else do I have on here? He's developed under an offense that plays fast, throws it a ton. Obviously, that requires offensive linemen who can communicate, pass protect, handle tempo. And so that means he gained experience in quick set pass protection, the inside zone, gap, and power looks too. And I'm sure he probably benefited from reps protecting a high volume quarterback in Drew Mestemaker as well, which should accelerate his mental acuity from an interior lineman standpoint. So yeah, obviously with Mestemaker, with Hawkins, with Young, with Coleman, now you add a Dixon and you start to get like, oh, hold on a second now. The Pokes are really putting something together here that is special. And because you see this every year, guys, and I'm just going to say it. Last year, there were several, at least 5 Jacksonville State players that West Virginia didn't get that I really felt would have made just a monster difference. So, I mean, look, if you look at Johnny Dixon on the On3 app, he's rated an 87. That's a high 3-star interior offensive lineman and somebody that most teams would love to have that could come in and compete for a spot. So, this is a good sign. My thing is like, you guys are doing such a good job getting the best players from North Texas, and not to keep talking about West Virginia, but we just didn't do that when Jacksonville State last year. And they had guys that went to Colorado. They had guys that went everywhere across the country. We just couldn't afford them. And that's the facts. They had 2 offensive linemen that were first team all conference that went somewhere else and paved the way for really good players last year. If we could have just afforded those 2 offensive linemen, our whole season would have been different, but it didn't happen. So the fact that you guys are actually doing this makes me want to ask this question before we go. We got about 3 minutes here. Can you guys contend in year one? Because, I told you guys the other day, you're going to get the Cignetti comparison in Indiana. You're going to get the Sonny Dykes comparison at TCU. They went to the Natty in year one. Is that a realistic expectation for you guys? Maybe not, but maybe. And I think we have to evaluate it each situation differently. Obviously these are all just different situations. TCU would be a similar situation though. I mean, when you look at it, I guess TCU is very similar to Oklahoma State in a lot of ways. And coming from a place, which I'm sure you guys know, because it's, it's right there near you, like SMU, is a similar jump from North Texas as well. So there's similarities to that one as well. The James Madison to Indiana is quite similar too, because of the quality of players that Cignetti brought with him to James Madison. Like they had a bunch of elite players, right? Like he had like 7 or 8 guys that were legit Power 4 guys. You guys are bordering on that. And that's why I'm scared. As a West Virginia fan, you want me to tell you the list of players? Like, we signed 1 guy so far, a Division II defensive lineman. That's it. We've signed a Division II defensive lineman. We've got a 3rd team all-conference Sun Belt player from the offensive line coming in to visit. We've got, I'm trying to remember from memory here. We've got a wide receiver from Troy coming in that's got 45 catches in his last year. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, like Gundy, Rich Rod and them are very private about things. I'm praying to God that that's what they're doing and they have some bigger fish up their sleeve. Because if this is going to be what we are this offseason, we're going to be in trouble, y'all. And the thing is we've got 20 million like you guys. So I don't understand what's going on. That's why when I keep thinking about what you guys just did. And I know we have similar money. So we have to be hiding some stuff behind closed doors. We just have to be. Sorry. I know I figured out a way to bring it back to West Virginia again, but part of me is envious over here doing this show and happy for you guys. I really am. But part of me is envious too, as a guy that obviously wants to win. And imagine going through what you guys have gone through the last 2 years, but it's been 8 years. And that's what we feel like. We haven't had a season to be proud of since 2016, 2017. I mean, it's at this point, it's like, I feel like, you know what I feel like? I feel like I'm in the twilight zone because every single year of my life until 2016 or 2017, outside of maybe one or two, every single year we felt like we had a shot to win the league. We were one of the winningest teams of the 2000s, obviously, the 2000 to 2010. And then Dana Holgerson got the job. We won an Orange Bowl. And that went all the way up through the Will Greer years in 2016, 2017. And then Neil Brown took over, and that was a 6-year debacle that really ran our program into the ground. It just takes one coach. And ironically, that guy took over at North Texas. It's crazy how the world works. I appreciate all you guys' love and affection, man. And I'm not saying that to be weird. You guys have been very supportive, even when my own fan base hasn't always supported me. Not that it's really just a few people, but I mean, I've had some people really try to make life hard on me over there for whatever reason. There's just a large contingent of the fan base that, and like on the message boards, especially, and saying places like that, because I get my own sets of intel, I guess. I don't know if, I don't know, man. It's weird over there sometimes, but I just want to say thank you guys. I haven't got not the first burner, not even one from you guys that's been disrespectful. Maybe if I stick around long enough, that would happen. But like, you guys have been above and beyond class the whole way through. And I mean that. So thank you. West Virginia does have a large footprint. That's true. And at the same time, I've been on the West Virginia scene for years now, and I've had a chance to make enough more than one person mad with my takes. So I haven't gotten comfortable enough at Oklahoma State yet to really dive bomb them like I have some West Virginia takes, because you have to have opinions, and sometimes they're not always popular. Guys, Oklahoma State's killing it right now. I'm very proud of you guys. I'll continue to try to get videos up every day. I can't cover it like I want to. I'm just so spread thin between the two channels. But hopefully this video, gives you everything you needed to know. There is more coming. I'll probably wait. I'm not going to do one commit at a time. I don't know if I can do that many videos here, but I'll certainly, unless it's a huge commit, but I'll certainly be back with another banger. Today, if there's some kind of crazy commit, I'll be back today. If not, it'll be tomorrow. My voice needs the rest. Until then, guys, thanks for making Locked On Oklahoma State your first listen. Make sure you check out Locked On Big 12 next. The Everydayer Club is there for you if you want to be a part of the Everydayer Club. It's Locked On Podcasts with an S.com, hashtag or / Everydayer Club. And that's how you can get ad-free audio and be a part of a members-only Discord. The link for that is in the chat right now. Would love if you would sign up for that so Cody could have some of you guys in there. $5. That's all it takes. And you can be in a Discord where we can hang out, we can talk about whatever, and all that. So thank you guys. I'll see you on the next one. and go Post.